Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, I'm a little not so technical savvy.
Get through it together. So we'll call the Committee on Parole to order. Today's Tuesday, June the 6th, 2023. We are at the Livingston Parish Detention Center. Would the staff there at Livingston please introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, my name is Sergeant Jennifer Gomez of Classifications.
What was the last name again?
Gomez, Gomez.
Okay, thank you, Sergeant Gomez, for accommodating us today. And my name is Cheryl Renazza. My colleagues on the panel this morning, to my left is Mrs. Pearl Wise, and to my right is Mrs. Bonnie Jackson. So we have Mr. Sanders here. Mr. Sanders, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number, please.
My name is Bradley Reed Sanders, 473-124.
All right. And Mr. Sanders, do you have a parole revocation questionnaire with you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your signature at the bottom of that page dated May the 3rd, 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
So we're here this morning for a revocation decision. Really, I gotta open your record. Stand by. So I will read the allegations against you, Mr. Sanders, after which you'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and then conversation about it. Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Wise, so she'll take the lead on the interview with you. So first, let me just read the allegations so you can enter your plea. You're accused of violating the conditions of your parole, specifically condition number 4, which states, on March 10th, 2022, you were arrested by the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office and charged with felony carnal knowledge of a juvenile. On April 24, 2023, the above listed charge was dismissed by the 21st JDC District Attorney's Office. So how do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Not guilty.
Next is condition number 10. You've made no payments on supervision fees. You're in arrears $504. How do you plead?
I'm guilty of that one.
Okay. Would you answer Mrs. Wise's questions, please?
Good morning.
Good
Good morning. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good. All righty. How long you been in jail?
I've been here for 15 months, ma'am.
15 months. Okay. And you were paroled on May 4th of 21. That's correct?
Yes,
May 4th
ma'am.
21. Okay. So what did happen?
Actually, when I was released from work release in
Yes.
2021, I went home, and my ex-wife's family were still living with my mom and dad. Well, my mom and dad are elderly, and they were taking advantage of my mom and dad. So I told them to leave. They had to leave, and this is how they repay me. They come up with these charges, but the charges were dismissed. I mean,
They were so your statement to us today is nothing happened on May 7th of 21.
no,
Nothing.
ma'am. No, ma'am. I was released from the work release on May the 4th. So,
That's correct. That's right.
so
Okay, so your statement is that, I just want to be clear on this, your statement is nothing happened. You didn't
absolutely.
spend any time with this young man, y'all were never alone,
No,
nothing.
ma'am.
Okay,
No, ma'am.
all right. You understand the DA dropped the charges because the mother did not want the young man to testify. Did not want, just didn't want to go through the court process.
From what I understood was they never got in touch with nobody. There was nobody to even come. All these people did was file a charge on me.
No, they got statements from her that she told the DA, and she even told probation and parole, but they reached out to her as well. Is that and that she was disappointed as well that the DA dropped the charges simply because he didn't want to testify. But that is the situation, and she didn't want to, because of some things that he's been saying, to the family. So they realizing that what their stance is, let me give him some care and not worry about you. That's what the report said. I'm just telling you what the report says. I don't know. So tell me this, you got released or work release. Why didn't you pay any of your fees? You had money. You had something.
I had trouble going back to work, ma'am, because
No, I'm saying when you left work release, you had money.
Well, I didn't have much. I mean, it was Livingston Parish, so they took most of our money, but
Oh, really? Oh, really?
when I went home, I tried to help my mom and dad out, really, more than anything.
Okay, but when you had money, leaving work release, and I was just curious to know why you didn't use any of that to pay something
Yes,
on
ma'am, you're
your
right.
fees or your freedom.
You're right, I should have, ma'am. I really should have.
Kind
And
of
then the
speaks to the
hurricane, then the hurricane messed me up after that, and things just really went downhill for me.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, that's all I have, Chairman.
I don't see any other questions. Is there anything you'd like to say to us, Mr. Sanders, before we vote?
Yes, ma'am. This did not happen, ma'am. My charge was dismissed. I just want to I was with my family. I was trying to take care of my family. I was doing good until this happened. You know, I thought I was looking out for my family, but I don't do things like this. I raised these kids. I don't do things like this. I'm not the first one that these people have done this to, you know, but this is not something that I do. I have a child of my own that I'm trying to raise. I've been here 15 months, ma'am. I just want to go home to my family. That's it. I mean,
All right. I think we're prepared to vote.
Yes, yes. Mrs. Sanders, I'm gonna take a chance on you. And give you an opportunity to see what you can do. And then it's just for me now. My vote is to do not revoke and return you to supervision. And you ought to have no contact with that family or whatsoever. I realize that transportation is an issue, but I need you to report the probation parole for the first 3 weeks weekly. You need to get your mind acclimated to your freedom. That I'm just one, that's my vote.
thank you, ma'am.
Jackson.
All right, Mr. Sanders, I was looking at the allegations. The description of what happened is pretty detailed. Makes it seem unlikely that maybe the child made this up. However, the charges were dismissed. I don't see where they did any kind of forensic analysis of the phone to see whether or not you had access pornography sites. I think that would have certainly been some supporting evidence, but since they did not do that, and all we have is an allegation that was not prosecuted, and my vote is likewise not revoke any supervision, no comment.
All right, Mr. Sanders, I do concur with my colleagues. My vote is the same. Do not revoke. Continue on supervision, no contact with that family. Report weekly for 3 weeks. Good luck to you. Today, we're going to move on. It is 8:15 a.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Very
ma'am.
much.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great day.
Too.
Is that good news?
Oh man, can you see me well? I'm sitting here in my hotel room. My color is a bit off. I'm happy that Miss Jackson came in to chat. I mean, the first thing I want to say is, Miss Wise, this is not a young man. So calling him a young man, it's it's not the first time we've seen this. We've seen some of these board members say young woman, and to then find out that the victim is 5 years old. So when you say young man, I'm thinking just automatically, I'm thinking any, 15, 16, 17. But who knows? He could be 3, he could be 5, he could be 6. It's very, I don't understand why they do that. I Googled him. I tried looking up information to see. I don't know what he's originally in for. I don't know if he has any priors. I don't know if he's on the registry. On one side of it, what it seems like, I've looked red. I'm telling you, I'm not this red. It's the coloring. I have like the window open behind me, and I think it's messing with the effects. So I'll close the window for the next one. We'll do another one after this. Also, what do you think about this board? I think it's the first time we've seen this with the three of them. I think maybe once before, but this might be the first. Let's see if I can close the window here. It's like a fancy room. Let's see if it makes a difference. So basically, if I do see a scenario, a world where he gets out of prison. Remember, he's on parole. He's out of work release. He shows up. It's his ex-wife. There we go. I'm looking more human now. And he wants to kick them out, is what it seems, because they're living with his parents. So then they make up this charge. I mean, that's totally believable. That's something that I see that scenario playing out and making a lot of sense. But then you have what Miss Jackson brought up, which are all these details saying that they did want to press charges, but that they couldn't. I'm thinking, okay, this is it is possible that he really did do something. But I just don't know, because I can see both playing out, and you could come up with a detailed story of what happened if you wanted it to play out. And you could play, I always lean to take the side of the victim, but again, this is something that I don't know. You say, if he has a prior record, I just straight up wouldn't believe him. I would just say, yeah, he did it again. But what do you guys think? Because I don't know if we'll ever know. Certainly, if the board thinks he did and that he just gets off, that's pretty scary too. Also, we found out that on work release, it seems that he wasn't keeping much of the money. That was interesting. But I don't know. I'm at a loss on this one, I gotta tell you. So love to see what you guys think. We'll do another one. We'll head over to Iberia Parish Jail. And let's
Who needs that?
It is. Oh,
I'm thinking something. They connected?
yeah, she's still walking with the iPad. I'm telling you.
Okay, good morning. This is the Committee on Parole. We are now at Iberia Parish Jail. It's Tuesday, 6/2023. And would staff there at Iberia please introduce yourself for the record?
My name is Jerry Eugene Doehling.
Yeah, let me ask the officer to introduce herself.
Deputy Laura Tarver.
All right. Thank you for accommodating us this morning.
ma'am.
So, Mr. Doehling, what is your DOC number?
I'm not sure. I don't have it memorized.
Okay, let me ask you, let's see, stand by. What is the last four digits of your social security number?
0312,
What year were you born?
1974.
Okay, I have your DOC number as 774874. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Let me ask the deputy could you adjust the camera a little bit? There you go, much better. Thank you. Hi, Mr. Doehling. My name is Cheryl Renatza. This is Mrs. Parole to my left, Mrs. Bonnie Jackson to my right. We're here for a revocation decision this morning. I'll read the allegations against you, and then you'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. Now, as I understand it, you refused to participate in your preliminary hearing. Is that correct?
Not really.
What?
I didn't have a way to get to the probation office, and by the time I did, the officers.
No, I'm talking about your preliminary hearing. So it appears that on April 19th, there was a parole officer who visited with you at the jail to have a preliminary hearing. And the note says that you refused to participate in the hearing. So let me ask you some questions that would have been asked to you at that time. Have you ever been treated for mental illness in the past 5 years, or are you currently taking medication for a mental disorder?
Yes, I am.
So yes, you're being treated.
I take medication for a bipolar disorder.
Okay, all right. Can you read and write?
Yes, I can, yeah.
Okay. Do you understand the parole violation charges against you?
Not really.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Do you want to speak on your behalf?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Before you were incarcerated, what was your average monthly income?
Like about 2,500 a month, something like that.
Okay. All right. Do you own any property?
Do I have property?
Own any
No.
property? Okay.
No, I don't.
All right, so we'll go ahead and proceed. You want to proceed? You're not eligible for appointed counsel this morning. You want to go ahead and proceed with this revocation here?
Do I want to see what happened?
Want to proceed?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Let me get there. Okay, so let me read the allegations against you. You'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. So you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole. Condition number 1, you failed to report to the probation and parole office within 48 hours of your release from jail. You also failed to contact anyone with probation and parole within 48 hours of your release. How do you plead to violate condition number 1?
Not guilty.
Then condition number 3, you failed to provide your officer with a valid address upon your release from jail. You were also arrested on March 29, 2023 by Kansas City PD, Missouri. You did not have permission to be out of state and failed to notify your officer that you were out of state. How do you plead to violation of condition number 3?
I don't know. I'm having a hard time hearing over this computer.
You want me to read it again?
Yeah, can you read it one more time? I'm gonna try to listen a little bit.
This is condition number 3, and it reads, you failed to provide your officer with a valid address upon your release from jail. You also were arrested on March 29, 2023 by Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. You did not have permission to be out of state and failed to notify your officer that you were out of state. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty?
Not guilty.
Okay. And this is the last one. It's condition number 9. You failed to provide your residence to your officer so that you could be visited there. So how do you plead to violating condition number 9?
What was the question again?
You failed to provide your residence to your officer so you could be visited there.
Oh, okay. I don't remember, so I don't know. I guess not guilty for that too.
Okay, so let's talk about it. So you were released to Johnson County, Kansas, to a detainer. Your good time down in January to that detainer. Is that right?
I'm sorry. What was the question again?
You released on good time in January to a detainer in Johnson County, Kansas. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Then you were released from Johnson County on February 21st, 2023. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, correct.
Okay, so after that, never reported back to your Louisiana parole officer. Is that correct?
I never reported back. That's what you said?
I'm asking you, did you?
No, I never did. No.
Why?
I had no way. I had no ride. No way to get there.
You have access to a phone?
Yeah, I could have used the phone, but I mean, I had nobody to help me get there, so I had no way to get there. You know. Mhm.
Well, I don't really have any other questions of you, Mr. Doehling. You violated the conditions of your release. We
Yeah,
have
because,
transported you back to Louisiana at substantial cost. I don't
I
have.
had
Go
no.
ahead,
I had
sir.
no way to get to the office, and the office was. I had no way to get to the.
I
probation
know,
office.
you should have made contact by phone. It's
Yeah,
your
okay.
responsibility to do so, to keep in touch with your officer.
All right.
Mrs. Jackson has some questions.
Are you homeless?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Where's your family?
They're up in. I got. They're all over, like Chicago, Kansas, and like in Texas. Yeah, they're all.
Well,
They're all around.
how did you end up in Louisiana?
How'd I get back? I rode over here on the. I was deported back here from Kansas City, Missouri, on the airlines.
No. How did you, before you were sent to Kansas City, since you don't have any family in Louisiana, why were you in Louisiana in the first place?
Well, I have friends that are down here, and I came down here to visit a friend of mine, and I ended up all over the place, You know what I mean? So I was visiting my friend.
Does
And I
your
was-
family know where you are?
Yeah, they do. They know where I'm at. My mom does anyway,
How does she know?
because I've been talking to her on the phone.
Okay, so you have access to a phone. You could ask your mom to call probation and
Mom doesn't live down here. She lives in Kansas. You know what
I
I mean?
understand that, but she can call anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I know. I should have done all that, but I wouldn't even. Nobody even told me anything about probation. They just gave me a bunch of paperwork and let me out of the jailhouse. So I didn't know what was going on.
All right, that's all I have, Mr. Mills.
All right. You signed some paperwork, your release certificate, when you were released from jail in Louisiana. You remember that?
Kind of.
Well, you signed that you acknowledge and understand all those.
I understand.
Well, you signed January 5th, 2023. And you released. Where did you release from?
From here, from where I'm at right now.
In Iberia?
Yep.
All right, yeah, you're released from Iberia Parish. I don't know what to do with you, Mr. Doehling. You know, I find that you have violated the conditions of parole, condition number 1, 3, and 9. My vote this morning is going to be to revoke your parole and then try to connect you with a transition specialist that can help you reconnect with your family.
Okay,
You can reapply for another parole hearing once you get yourself straight and get a better plan. You understand that?
yes, I do, yeah.
So my vote today is to revoke, Mr. Doehling. Mrs. Wine.
Mr. Terry, I wish you well, but my vote is the same to revoke. And I really want you to cooperate with the mental health staff. Really cooperate with your medications and let them know how it's working so you can get some adjustments and, while you're incarcerated.
Where am I gonna be now? Where do I stand now?
They'll tell you.
Yeah,
That's fine.
okay, all right.
All right, my vote is the same. I find that you violated your conditions and vote to revoke.
All right, Mr. Doehling, we're gonna try to get you some help. Good luck to you, sir. Thanks,
Yeah.
Deputy Tarver, for accommodating us this morning. We're gonna sign off at 8:31.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day, ladies.
So we could do another one after this. And also, I took my background off. I wanted to show you where I am, my view here. Some of you might know exactly where I am. Not by precise location, but what country. Some of you might not, but it's pretty beautiful that I could look at that view, I'll tell you that. But just proof that I am away and that I am still doing hearings from my hotel room. But that's just because it's interesting getting a hearing to come in at, I guess, like it's like at nighttime instead of the morning. So this case is interesting in the sense that I wonder if he's, all there. And then you always ask about the mental health thing. Are we locking up people in jail when they should be in a mental institution? I think that's just the reality of our system. The problem with the system that we have, right? Like I tend to believe that this man is just simply not there, right? He doesn't understand. He's not, and to lock him up, it's not doing anyone any favors. Now you might see here what he did. This was in 2018, so this might be what he was serving time for. He stole a car that was left in a parking lot with the engine on and a baby inside. If there is a worse nightmare for any parent, this is on the top of the list, I can imagine, at least for me. I mean, of course, you never leave a baby in a car with the car running. Never leave a baby in the car, period, right? But some people do it. They, this will be a second. The Louisiana baby was adopted, triggered an early Amber Alert, but was found safe. So we do have to give this guy some credit. He didn't hurt the baby. I don't know what credit. I guess you could say he's not a monster, But let's see, what time did they find the baby and what time did he take the car? The Louisiana police at 3:10 a.m. June 28th said the suspect was in custody following the abduction of a 9-month-old Liam Allen. And the infant was found in New Orleans and identified the suspect. Said the infant was found in New Orleans and identified the suspect as Terry E. Doehling, Lafayette State Police. Later confirmed to report. Jail records of the New Orleans Parish office showed 43 was booked at 5:11 a.m. Thursday on child desertion and motor vehicle theft charges along with the warrant. Sanders first said the baby was taken to the hospital, will be reunited with the parents. Earlier, state police and the Amber said that the baby was sleeping in the Nissan Altima when the car was stolen at 11:05 p.m. No, the guy's a douchebag. It was stolen at 11:05, and he didn't immediately put the car back. So no, there goes any to have it for 4 hours with the police. You could rot in jail. Earlier, state police said the Amber Alert was baby was sleeping. The car was stolen at 11:05 Wednesday outside a church in Gianaret in Iberia Parish. Authorities said believe the infant was in imminent danger and sent out the Amber Alert, which was pushed out to phones in the area around 2:50 a.m. It took that long to send the Amber Alert. I saw this whole study on YouTube, of course, about Amber Alerts, basically stating how it's a complete failure. How there's been like very, 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 very little, even if any documentation that Amber Alert has helped anyone at all. I mean, the idea that it took that long for the Amber Alert to get out alone says a lot, in my opinion. Like it should have been pushed out within the first minute that the phone call was received. But no, I don't have empathy for the dude. You know, you can go and take a car that the engine's left running, but you notice that there's a child back there, the fun's over, right? you take the car, you put it back, or you park the car, you make sure someone's there. I don't know, you do something. You don't drive around for another bunch of hours, though, that's for sure. All right, we could do another one. But in all reality, the guy does seem to belong in a mental hospital. And I think part of our system is that we just don't have the ability or know how to do that. Just send people away.
All right, good morning. Committee on Parole, we are now at Lafayette Parish Correctional Center on Tuesday, June the 6th, 2023. I would like for the officer in the room, please identify yourself for the record, please.
Deputy Bedell.
All right, thank you so much for accommodating us this morning. And with the offender, please introduce yourself for the record. Name and DOC number.
Yeah, my name Quentin, Senegal, 49-48-13.
All right, Mr. Senegal, my name is Cheryl Renanza. To my left is Mrs. Pearl Wise. To my right, Mrs. Bonnie Jackson. Mr. Senegal, is that a parole revocation questionnaire there in front of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your signature at the bottom of that page dated May the 9th of this year?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Okay, so you're ready to proceed this morning without counsel?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me acknowledge we have your fiancee, Ms. Kimberly Johnson, here with us. She's indicated she'd like to speak on your behalf, and we'll ask her to do so at the appropriate time.
Yes, ma'am.
First, I will read the allegations against you, the allegations that you violated the conditions of your parole. You'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and then we'll have a conversation there. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're accused of violating condition number 4. That states on September 13, 2022, you were arrested on the criminal conduct of simple burglary and domestic abuse, battery, child endangerment. You were billed on the charges of home invasion, domestic abuse, battery, child present, and simple robbery. On 11th, 23, were sentenced to first offense domestic abuse, battery, and you were placed on 2 years misdemeanor supervised probation. Charges of simple robbery and home invasion were dismissed. How do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Well, I took that plea, ma'am.
And this is your conditions of parole. So how do you plead, guilty or not guilty, to violating condition number 4 of your
I'm
parole?
not guilty.
You said not guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then the other one is condition number 10. You're in arrears $3,169 towards your parole fees, with the last payment made January 11th, 2021. So how do you plead violating condition number 10?
Guilty.
Case this morning has been assigned to Mrs. Jackson. Would you answer her questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Senegal. How are you?
Good morning, Ms. Jackson. All right, fine.
Mr. Senegal, I've reviewed your file. I've looked at some information, I'll call it, that was submitted on your behalf as somehow an indication this did not happen. However, you went to court and you pled guilty. Why did you plead guilty?
Because I really was trying to get home quicker, because I didn't like my next I've been in here since like September, and my next court date was in August, and that was like 90 days, and I just really took the chance on going to my hearing instead of just sitting, and because I was just sitting for nothing. That's really why I took the plea.
You do acknowledge that you pled guilty to domestic abuse battery, and you got 2 years of misdemeanor probation, and the simple robbery and the home invasion was dismissed. So tell us what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what happened.
Well, honestly, I didn't know I had these charges till the day I got locked up. Yeah, but the charges was filed way like August, from what I understand.
But what happened in August?
Well, it was my baby mom, she was messing with this guy, and the guy called her phone, and I basically I just told her, like, look, this guy, I said, look, your little boo calling you, and she basically got mad at me because I guess she was looking for me to get mad because the guy called her phone, but she got mad at me and started, flashing on me and stuff. And when I went to get my clothes out the closet, and I was going to my house, back to my house, and to my address at Church Point, she jumped on me and like trying to grab my clothes. And when she jumped on my back, I was trying to like steer her from grabbing my clothes, and that's when I smashed my finger in the door. And when the impact from me smashing my door, I jumped back. When me smashing my finger, I jumped back, and she fell off my back. And that's whenever she had a cut on her elbow, from what I found out after I got locked up. And that's really what happened, but I found out she had pressed charges on me and all that.
That would have been on August the 22nd. This incident you're describing would have been on August 22nd of last year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I have a police report from that date. They were contacted by Skylar Thomas that she had been abused by her child's father. Lived at residence, however, she left the front door unlocked because her oldest child was outside playing with the neighborhood children. She was on the second floor of the residence in the bathtub with her daughter Truly. And Thomas stated that you entered the residence, went upstairs, grabbed your cell phone off the bathroom counter, before grabbing her by the hair and pulling her out of the bathtub. And then she stated that you then pulled her down the apartment stairs, then outside to the parking lot. She stated that you struck her in the head multiple times before leaving her cell phones, with her cell phone still in your possession. The son was still present and said that he was a witness. He said that he had heard arguing, and then you pulled Skylar down the stairs by holding onto her hair, up her head. And then he saw you leave in a green truck. And it says that she sustained a laceration on her left arm near the elbow that was still bleeding, had a large broken toenail that was covered on the second floor of her apartment near the stairs, which corroborated her statement about being dragged down the stairs. And then in the bathroom, they said that there was nothing in disarray. Water was found on the floor, and that corroborated Ms. Thomas being pulled out of the bathroom. So let's talk about that.
It's, Ms. Jackson, I promise, like, that is, like, those allegations are completely false, like, without a doubt. And like, the little boy she talking about that they said did that little, he ain't nothing but like 5 years old, 4 years old, so how you can conduct and say a statement like that? And
His birthday. He was actually 7.
7, all right, 7. And that,
7-year-old can see and report what they see. 7-year-old. Go ahead.
and yeah, but the latest, like I was saying, about the getting pulled out the shower and all that, that is not true, you know. And Skylar, like, I can't really put the words on it. Like, she's a compulsive liar by far. Like, and if anyone knows me, like that, I've been with that girl since '98, 25 years, and I never put my hands on her, you know. And that was the whole reason, you know. Like I say, I put myself in that position by dealing with another woman. You know, yeah, she lied, but I did that. I called it by dealing with another woman. You know, like I stated on my letter. You know, just how I had refrained from putting myself in situations and not getting in trouble. You know, the people I hung out with and the places I once was, I was supposed to use that same manner, you know, and see things before it happened, even though she said what she said, you know, and I hold myself accountable for allowing all that to happen.
And she did request that the charges be dismissed. Statement I wrote for the police wasn't right. Quentin and I did get into a fight, but he didn't put his hands on me. I ran outside, fell on the cement, and scraped my arm. She said you were together for 3.5 years. And extols your virtues as father. He raised my sons like his own little girl. Hey, I'm not afraid of him in no type of way, and would like to see him home with all of his kids and family. And that was signed on December 20th of this year. Well, let me ask you this: when you were in court on the charges, did she come to court and tell that to the prosecutor?
Yes, ma'am. Well, she didn't come to court. The prosecutor. I went to court twice. They brought me to I went to court like 5 times for that. Even after she did that, the parole, the DA, you know, wasn't trying to dismiss it or do nothing. He wanted to charge me, you know, he wasn't, this actually my first time.
I understand, but on your trial date, if she come to court and said, I want to testify, you know, this didn't happen, but she didn't come forth.
No, ma'am, she told the DA that she didn't want to, she wasn't coming to court and she didn't want to pursue the charges.
And how long have you been incarcerated since September of 22? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, let's talk about your supervision fees. You were way behind in your supervision fees. Why is that?
I have no excuse. I was supposed to do better, but that situation right there with dealing with my baby mom, had so much going on and wasn't focusing about it. I'll be honest, I'm not. But I should have been doing better, and I could have.
So
Ma'am,
why weren't you? Because even before that you got arrested, you were already behind $3,000 in your supervision fees.
yes, ma'am, and I know that. I have no excuse, but I mean, I will. I mean, if granted my freedom, I'll be, without a doubt, I'll catch up on that. I promise about that.
Were you employed?
Yes, ma'am. I just whenever I came the day I got locked up, I was coming from my job with
What
ma'am.
kind of job did you have?
At the time I was working at in the industrial plant in Lake Charles at Sasson,
Doing what?
doing scaffolding
And how long had you been there?
since I came home. I've been in and out. I would go from offshore after I got my certifications offshore. I went from offshore to the plants. It all depends, whichever one, you know.
Yeah. Well, how much were you making?
Like
An hour. How much were you paying an hour on these jobs?
like $26.
And you couldn't manage to squeeze out your supervision fees?
Yeah, I should have. I should have been doing better with that. That's my fault on that.
Mr. Renata, that's all I have.
Okay, can we hear from Miss Kimberly Johnson, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Sit up straight, Ms. Johnson. Get out of the bed, sit up straight. This is a formal proceeding. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Johnson. And I'm the fiance of Quentin Senegal for 25 years.
Anything you want to tell us about him?
I would just like for you to take everything into consideration and pardon him or grant him the clemency, because he was just really at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong person. I mean, we've been through a lot of things and we had a lot of altercations, and that never once happened. Like, he wasn't raised to like hit a woman or do anything like that. And that never happened. And I'm, a little firecracker, and he never, ever put his hands on me. Never. Like, the type of person that he was dealing with, you have to understand, like, being that he was with me for 25 years is like, oh, I can't remove her. So I can't take her out of the picture. So I'm gonna take him out of the picture. Like, I'm gonna send him away. So lying and saying that was like the easiest thing to do. And being that he was on parole, it was like, it's an easy way to get rid of him. So if I can't have him, she can't have him. Which, right. I mean, it's crazy, but
let's talk about that, Ms. Johnson. Yeah, that's your relationship. Let me ask Mr. Senegal, is there anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
Ma'am, I mean, I deeply consider that y'all would let me grant me my parole because my freedom, because I honestly have like a lot of things that ahead of me that I'm accomplishing. You know, I had to set back, which is I'm trying to, well, I'm going further myself and get my high school diploma so I can further myself in theology in this Bible Institute college. It's like 4 or 5 years, and I have my CDL class in August the 4th, where I'm trying to enroll in, and we have our wedding plan that me and her plan, and the youth football team that I'll be coaching. I missed out on that last year, you know, and I don't want to just, you know, just lose out on all that. I mean, I know I'm gonna go home, but I mean, I'm really trying to pursue that and, you know, take care of that and stuff, and make, you know, fix this situation that I'm in.
Thank you, Mr. Senegal. Prepared to vote?
Let me ask you a question. I'm not even gonna try to get into your complicated personal life, because I don't understand, you know, this entanglement. But when you pled guilty to that domestic abuse battery, were you ordered to go to a domestic violence program?
Yes, ma'am. They told me I had to go to some community service and all kind of other things.
Did they specifically tell you to do a domestic violence program?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Senegal, I do find that you violated the alleged violations against you, criminal conduct, and the behind in your supervision fees. For my vote today is going to be to revoke current use of supervision and order that you complete a 26 domestic violence offender program and become current with your supervision fees. Bravo.
Mrs. Wise?
Quentin, I really am concerned about you. I really am. And we have to get to a place where we do things that's healthy for us in our life. And you're not there. I concur with my colleague. My vote is to say that do not revoke and return you to supervision because of the testimony that's been rendered here today. But I want you to undergo a mental health evaluation and follow that recommendation.
Yes, ma'am.
I also want you to not have no contact with this community until you have completed that domestic violence class that Ms. Jackson mentioned. I know y'all have a child together, y'all can work that out. Somebody go pick them up and all that. No contact was your parole condition. No contact means when she calls you, and she's probably gonna call you, you don't answer. When she sends text, you don't respond. Unless you say, I'm on parole and I'm not allowed to talk to you. That should be your response until you finish that domestic violence class. That's my condition. Best wishes to you.
All right, Mr. Senegal, and I do concur with my colleagues. My vote is the same with the same conditions. Do not revoke, return you to supervision. You understand the conditions that have been explained to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all sincerely.
I'm going to sign out of Lafayette Parish at 8:59 a.m. Thanks for accommodating us.
Thank you.
We could do another one after this if you want to. I think that was the first time in over 500 hearings that we have heard the board yell or order or demand any form to a participating Zoom participant to sit up. I don't think we've ever heard that before. They actually, like, you have to get out of bed. This is a court proceeding. And yes, it is. Thank you, Ms. Renatza. I've been waiting like a long time for you guys to say that, and you did. Man, I don't know. I mean, the way his girlfriend stated it, I've been with him for 25 years and he never laid a hand on me. I'm a firecracker, etc., etc. I was to believing her, but at the same time, I believe the other records fully. And it sounded violent. It sounded brutal. Can you imagine you're taking a bath. You're supposed to feel safe. And this man comes in there, grabs you by the hair, what pulls you out. It's just so brutal. And what? So you can feel big and strong. You like, oh, you're such a big bad guy. You get to abuse women. It's just like you're a coward. Uh, I found something, but it must have been. It must have been. Who knows? Like if you got prosecuted on this, but basically there was someone who was banged in the face by a bang, and the police took him in as a suspect, identified Quentin Von Keith Senegal, age 30, and charged him with the counts of first-degree M, one count of possession of a firearm. It was an AK-47, and his bond was set at $50,000. But they were just investigating it, so who knows if he actually was the one who did it. And I could put this link in the description. This was I didn't see any follow up, so it doesn't mean he actually was tried for it, right? He could have just been in the area. There could have been a million things. But let's do one more. I kind of like it. I like the mix of Miss Jackson and Miss Renata. I like Miss Renata running the show in the sense. They're handling business. Okay, let's go into the next one. This will be the last one for tonight.
Committee on Parole, we are reconvening at Allen Correctional Center. Today is Tuesday, June the 6th, 2023. It's 9:01 a.m. Good morning. Would the staff at Allen introduce yourself for the record?
Good morning, Deputy Warden Brett Thompson.
Good morning. Assistant Warden Bellamy.
Good morning, Michelle Herman, Transition Specialist.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Thanks for accommodating us today. And we are ready for Mr. Record.
Prince Record.
Record, excuse me. Thank you. All right, Mr. Record, good morning.
Good morning.
Could you introduce yourself, tell us your name and your DOC number, please, sir?
My name is Prince Record and my DOC number is 587-226.
Mr. Record, my name is Cheryl Renatza. This is Mrs. Parole seated to my left and Mrs. Bonnie Jackson to my right. We have here with us your wife this morning. She's here at Baton Rouge with us, Courtney Thomas. She wants to speak on behalf and we'll ask her to do so at the appropriate time. First, let me just read some information into the record, sir. Mr. Record, you're classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a 12.5-year sentence for simple escape, aggravated escape, and drug money transactions. Your parole eligibility was June 22nd, 2020. You have a good time date of November 12th, 2028. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your case this morning has been assigned to Mrs. Jackson. Would you answer her question?
Mr. Report.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you doing today? You
I'm
look a
doing
little,
fine. Ma'am,
you look a little nervous.
just a little bit.
Just relax. We don't bite. How old are you, Mr. Report?
I'm 34 years of age.
And how long have you been incarcerated on these charges?
I've been incarcerated since July 11, 2015.
How long is that?
8 years, approximately.
We'll say 7+.
Yes, ma'am.
You're classified as a second felony offender. Was your prior conviction also drug related?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about that. Why so much drug activity?
I was young and really just misguided. I actually caught the charge when I was 17 in 2007. I got
That's-
convicted.
That was the first one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, how did you get involved in drug dealing?
Just needed the funds to help my moms. Like I said, just misguided.
How far had you gone in school?
I got my GED.
No, before you got in trouble, how far,
The 9th grade.
and why did you drop out in the 9th grade?
To get my GED
Why would you do that?
because I really felt like they wasn't really teaching me anything in school. So I dropped out and I started going to VOTEC.
Well, maybe they were teaching you, you just weren't learning.
Yes, ma'am.
So did you get your GED while you were on the street, or did you get it after you were incarcerated?
I got my GED when I got incarcerated.
So you're dropping out in the 9th grade and going to VOTEC, that was just what? A scam to drop out of school, because you didn't go and get your GED.
Well, I was in
Right.
the process, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I was in the process, which I really didn't have no supervision, so I really just dropped out just to go to school. And I was still hustling. And that particular day when I missed school was the day I actually caught the charge, and I was sentenced to JCCY.
And how long did you stay there?
Approximately a year.
Did you get your GED while you were in
Yes,
JCCY?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So when you got out of JCCY, then what did you do?
When I got out of JCCY, I went to Eunice and I started working at Taco Bell.
Okay,
The environment I was in, I resorted back to the same thing. I worked at Taco Bell for 8 months. And once I lost my job, I really just,
why'd you lose your job?
I was accused of theft.
Were you arrested for theft?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so, you were accused of theft and you lost your job, then what'd you do?
I started back hustling.
And by hustling, you mean selling drugs?
Yes, ma'am.
And that probation, okay, then you got an adult conviction for drugs, is that correct?
Correct.
And how were you when you got your adult conviction for drugs?
I want to say 21.
Okay. And that probation ended up getting revoked, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Why didn't you do what you needed to do to stay out of jail?
I don't think the sentence, I did 2 years and the sentence, it didn't dawn on me, you know?
So 2 years in prison didn't dawn on you that maybe that's not what you ought to be doing?
It didn't dawn on me, and like I said, I was just misguided.
Where did you spend those 2 years?
First Allen Parish, then I went to New Iberia and Tensall.
So you're always in parish jails?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you take any programs? Did you have access to programs during those 2 years?
No, ma'am.
Didn't have them, or you didn't take them?
I didn't have them, and none was offered at the jails I was attending, or I was getting transferred. None was offered.
All right. But that probation got revoked. You did for 2 years. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you pick up the charge that you're serving time on now? Explain to me how that happened.
Well, the charge I caught was basically they were saying the money I had was derived from illegal activity. I was going to work release. I was working at SARS Protectors before I got out, and I took the money and started doing the same thing once again.
Why?
Really, just like the only thing I knew at the time.
Or what were you doing? What was your job at work with?
My job at work release was I was working at SARS Protectors.
Doing what?
Basically cleaning pipes with oils on it up in Scott.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it.
How long were you in that work release?
6 months.
Okay. But you had quite a bit of cash on you, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
How much?
$1,300.
It was a little more than that, wasn't it? More like 28, 29?
No, ma'am.
All right, so let's fast forward. Where have you been incarcerated the last 7 years? Where have you been?
I've been to Marksville. I've been to Caldwell, which is when I actually started taking classes in Caldwell, parenting, anger management. After Caldwell, I went to Winsboro. From Winsboro, I went to Allen. Allen, I went to Tallulah. Tallulah, I went to Winfield. From Winfield, I went to Morehouse Parish Jail. From Morehouse, I went to Hunts. And from Hunts, I got to Allen.
So where were you able to take programs?
I was able to take programs in Caldwell, and I was able to take programs up here at Allen.
And what programs have you taken since you've been in Allen?
I have took pre-release, I have took Thinking for a Change, Living in Balance Phase 1 and 2, Boys to Men, and I'm currently in IC3.
What's IC3?
It's a computer-based class, so I can utilize, well, once I get my job. I got a relative that's supposed to help me get a job.
Stop talking. When you say computer-based, what does that mean?
Just basic computer knowledge.
Okay, so okay. All right. So I saw that on August 24th of last year, happened to be my birthday. I wasn't on the panel, but that's my birthday, so that's why I remember. On August 24th of last year, you came up and you were denied early release. Remember that?
No, ma'am.
Or was that a? It says you were last denied on August 24th. And the reason that you were denied was because you had a write-up in 2021 for contraband. Now, remember that?
Yes, ma'am. Administrative hearing.
That administrative hearing?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So tell us about this contraband that you got in 2021.
It was a dirty urine that I tried to alter.
Or what was it dirty for?
Suboxone.
And why would you do that?
Just not taking responsibility, just going through it.
Well, I mean, here you are today and you want us to let you out early.
Well, I have passed numerous random urine samples afterwards.
So what's changed? Why are you not using Suboxone or whatever you can get your hands on now? What's changed?
Oh, a lot has changed. that's a behavior now associated with pain, and I got a priority and my family that I need to, like, it just,
You had that back in 22. You had a family, you had, all those things in 2022. So, you got to convince me and perhaps the other members of our panel why we should take a chance on you now. Given your poor supervision history, given the fact that you got write-ups for contraband. So, you gotta sell yourself. So sell yourself to me. Why should I give Mr. Rickard any consideration for early release?
well, from the time I first got incarcerated, it was challenging. I went through a lot. And a lot has changed for us, like my emotional growth, like mentally. I'm just trying to stay pat. I'm just trying to stay.
What brought about that growth?
Just, man, the changes with my family, the stuff they didn't went through, and me not being there, that was the most, like, motivating, like, aspect of it all. Just not being there for my family. Like, right now, like, that's where I need to be at. And I feel like a lot of years I was selfish. And it hindered me from moving forward. It hindered me from getting that closeness with my family. Just being around bad influences. So now I just minimize it by putting goals in place so I won't have to be prone to the distraction.
What are your goals? What goals have you put in place?
Personal goals, like, first, I want to get a job. I want to be able to be there for my family on a financial level.
Let's talk about getting the job part. I mean, tell me how you're going to accomplish that.
I got a relative, he working, well, actually I got a few opportunities, a few jobs, but this particular job I would like to take, which is Sea Corps Marines, is located in Morgan City. And it's just a place ma'am?
What would you be doing there?
I'll be dealing with computers.
So you need some tools and some skills for that job, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have those tools in your toolbox yet?
Yes, ma'am. Initially, that's why I took the class IC3.
Have you completed the class?
I haven't completed it, but I have completed IMS 2-1, ma'am.
Until you complete it, you don't have that tool in your toolbox. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So how do you, it seems like every time you were given an opportunity, you went right back eventually to the same people, the same places, same influences, the same lifestyle. What would make us think that you're not going to do that this time? Have you taken any kind of program? Let's talk about thinking for change. Did that teach you anything? You said they weren't teaching you anything in school. So did thinking for a change teach you anything?
Yes, ma'am. It helped me change my tool and my mentality.
How so?
Because, like, for instance, I used to be impulsive. I learned you got to reanalyze, take deep breaths, and just actually think about what you want to do next. Like, evaluate your steps, the risks, the rewards, like, emotionally.
Well, drug dealing is high risk and high reward. So
I feel like the consequences and the punishment is greater than the rewards. And it took me a while to realize that. Like I say, emotional growth, it took me a long ways. Like, it took me a long way.
any other programs you took that you think aided in your emotional growth?
Boys to Men.
Okay,
Boys
tell
to
me
Men
about,
helped me. It helped me express myself. And then it got my peers. Well, a lot of us nervous, but we'll take a word and we explain what that word means. And it's just like everybody does voluntarily, no ulterior motive. We just there to actually to learn, like different words, to learn how to express ourselves. And that's what I got the most out of, Boys to Men.
I must say you have expressed yourself quite well this morning.
Ma'am?
I say you have expressed yourself well this morning. So apparently you did learn something in that program. What's your strategy for maintaining sobriety, staying away from the use of illegal drugs?
My main strategy is just being family oriented, just maintaining a job, keeping my goals in place. Like I like to draw, I like to read. And this is something I was doing before I got incarcerated, reading, drawing. So just trying to maintain.
So this did that before you're incarcerated, but that didn't keep you from, turning to either drug selling or drug using while you're incarcerated. When you got that right up in 2021, you were using Suboxone. So maybe that's not enough of a strategy. What kind of substance abuse programs have you taken?
Living in Balance 1 and 2, phase 1 and 2.
And when did you complete those?
I completed those around the same time. Actually, right afterwards, I caught the write-up for the contraband charge for dirty urine.
And what you learned in Living in Balance?
I learned myself. It's just getting high. Like I say, I associate it with pain. So it's something I just don't see myself doing again. It's just too much pain behind it.
Most people think, I've been in jail for 15 years and I haven't used drugs, so I'm straight. And then they get out and guess what happens? Come back. Because they haven't put guardrails around themselves.
That's true, but I wasn't a user out there. My only problem was I just around the wrong crowd and I was just hustling, for the wrong reasons.
So why'd you feel the need to use Suboxone while you were incarcerated?
Stressing over my family. I just found different ways to cope with it now.
And give me the ways.
Just exercising, just staying focused. Because I know if I use, then I can't be there for them.
Well, let's talk about drug dealing. Have you had some time to reflect on the impact of your being a drug dealer?
Yes, ma'am. And I say that because I got a lot of little cousins, and I guess you could say I was an influence to them. And they used to always ask me, can they hustle? And I tell them, go learn the law book front and back before you come, try to hustle. Because I never had that type of guidance. And I know once they learn the law book from front to back, that's something they're not going to be interested in. Even though I was doing it, it's not something I actually like. Like once I found out what I found out, I was really overwhelmed. And I was so into it to where I couldn't turn around because, I figured it out.
How do you think your drug activity affected the lives of people in your community?
I think it affected a lot of people. And that's another reason why, especially me being in our culture, and they're really the ones I'm selling to. Like me being family oriented, it's something I just don't want to do no more. And now that I got another opportunity, and I realized this, actually being a fugitive on the run, I went on the run for like a year and a half. So once I just started studying and learning certain things, just something I wasn't really interested in no more, like at all.
What do you think, your drug dealing did to families out there on the street?
I think it destroyed families, and like I said, just something.
How do you feel about that? Knowing that you were putting something in your own culture, your own neighborhood, that was destroying people's lives, and you know, a lot of older people are having to raise children because their own children are drug addicts, and so instead of being able to sit back and relax and try to take care of your children, how do you feel about being a part of that cycle?
Well, initially, it really desensitized me from what was going on because this is what I grew up around. But, you know, just learning and just having the emotional growth is just something I just want to stay away from. I don't want to be a part of it. But this is what I seen growing up. Like, this is what I was influenced by. This is what I was put. And that's another reason why I don't like using drugs, because growing up, my uncles put that, you know, in my face, or put it in my, that's something they found humor in. I'm 9, 10 years old, that's something they found humor in. So it's something I just don't want to do anymore, especially after learning what I know and the people that's affected by it, not just me, my family, the users, and myself. Because it took a lot of time away from my family.
Well, it seems like family is very important to you.
It is. It is.
Let it down. And you like the opportunity to redeem yourself. Is that what I'm hearing?
Ma'am?
I said you let your family down and now you're looking for an opportunity to redeem yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What can you tell us about Mr. Ricard?
Yes, ma'am. Currently, he's staying out of trouble. He had a right up in approximately 2 years. I just talked to him just on yesterday. Some of my main concerns is that I really believe he's gonna need as much treatment as possible. The most important thing is that he understand that once he gets society out there, if all possible, that he have to be strong enough to not to go ahead and revert right back to the same situation he was doing. So he needs much treatment as possible to get it here at this particular time, so he can be prepared for society.
What do y'all have to offer that he hasn't taken?
We don't have anything here necessarily that is supposed to substance abuse, because he's done, you know, a couple of classes already with the Living in Balance 1 and 2.
Okay. And how long is that computer literacy class you're in gonna last, Mr. Report?
You work at your own pace.
What's your pay? So,
I say approximately 2 weeks, I should be completed.
and how many parts of it is there?
3.
And you're in the third part now?
I'm in the second part now.
So you gotta complete that plus 3.
Third. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you not? So that's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Oh, sorry. It's okay, it's fine. Warren, are there any AA or NA meetings or CR meetings at your facility?
Yes, ma'am, we do have them here.
How often are they?
We actually have them, they conduct them on the weekends, on a monthly basis. Yes, ma'am.
A monthly on the weekend, all right, thank you. That's all I have.
Thomas, can we hear from you? Senator. I'm really shy, so excuse me. Speak loud so he can hear you.
Good morning, my name is Courtney Thomas. I'm on the report.
Whoa. First, slow down. Don't read. You know what you want to tell us. Just talk to.
I am going down.
Okay, but just talk. Why should we let Prince out?
Why should that prints
I
out?
have seen a major change in his behavior, his life skills, and his ability education. And I this kind of learned to listen and we have a strong understanding of the time here.
And how long have you been in a relationship with him?
Approximately 2 years.
Okay. So you met him in prison?
No, I would.
Okay, well, when did you start your relationship with him?
I want to say February 2021.
Well, he was in prison.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm saying you started your relationship in prison.
Yes, ma'am.
How'd you come to reconnect with him in prison?
He had reached out to me for a while.
Mhm. Okay, and, so what's the plan for him if he were to get out? What plan?
Well, I plan to work with you to go and have him find a job. And keep him on the right path, make sure he listens.
Well, first of all, keeping him on the right path, is not your job.
You're right.
His job.
I'm sure he's going to do it. Help him.
All right, if you want to go ahead and reach paper, go ahead.
Okay. I have one question. Y'all have a wedding date?
Oh, we haven't set one yet. We still wait for one to, was released.
Okay. So when did he propose?
Say sometime next year.
Okay.
Thank you.
We had somebody on earlier today, they've been fiancé for 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Right.
so we
I'll
said.
know.
Make sure you don't.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have. All right. Mr. Ricard, is there anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to say that I appreciate this opportunity. That's it. And you won't regret it if I am approved.
Right. We're prepared to vote, Mrs. Jackson. All right. Well, Mr. Ricard, I came into this hearing on the fence about you. Because if you just look at you on paper, that would have been easy no. Because of your supervision history, because of your contraband write-up. But you did very well for yourself today. You spoke well, showed some insight into your situation. And I believe that you are at the point where you can be successful if you're given another opportunity on supervision. But I think you need a few more tools in your toolbox. And so my vote would be to grant conditionally upon completion of the computer literacy program that you're now involved in. Fortunately, the AA meetings are only on weekends once a month. So it would take a long time to get enough of those under your belt to made any real impact. So I'm going to grant conditionally upon completion of the computer literacy program that you're now in. And upon release, I'm going to add a condition of your supervision that you complete 90 AA meetings in 90 days. 90 days. For 90 days.
Yes, ma'am.
My vote.
Okay, Mrs. Wise.
The young man likewise, I just didn't know, I didn't know. You have 440 hours of programming. It appears that money's funds were well spent. You really got something out of it based on your presentation today. And I want you to know that I wrote in my notes that you said we won't regret it if we let you out. So if there's a revocation paperwork come through, if you come back through, we're gonna have that in our notes. That you told us what you regretted. So my vote is the same for the same reason I concur with the special conditions outlined.
All right, Mr. Record, I do concur with my colleagues. You do very well today. My vote today is the conditional grant, complete the program, and then after release, complete the 90 AA meetings in 90 days. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Megan, child, Francine, she's in paperwork for you to sign, so.
Well, what do you think? I like the interview style, Miss Jackson. Stop talking. um, it's interesting. And then his fiance comes up, and they're like, "Well, when did you start dating?" You started dating in prison, and this has come up a lot, and a lot of people have asked questions. So, on one of the, a few months ago, I said, "Hey, if there's anyone here that's dating anyone who's locked up, please write me." And someone did. You know who you are. Thank you. And we had a conversation about it. And, I asked her, what is it that is appealing to you? And she listed a few things which made a lot of sense. One is she said she had spent time locked up. She had been out and straight for maybe more than a decade. She has her life under control. But just that aspect of being able to relate to someone else who understands what you've been through, who won't be judgmental. There's something there. But not everyone has been locked up. Something else that she said that really did resonate with me as well was the art of writing, is what she said. Really a lost art. So exchanging letters with someone who has all the time in the world to really throw everything into writing a letter, and then having that letter type relationship with someone. And think about it, that person is going to be really good at writing, really good at expressing how they feel, really good at connecting. And it's a type of relationship, you might say an old school relationship, that you can't maybe find anywhere else but with an inmate. And then there are other caveats to it, but having that person's attention, full on attention, and feeling loved and feeling maybe obsessed over. And now I am paraphrasing in some ways, right? But in that context, you might say, I can, why someone would start dating someone who's locked up. There, I'm sure, if you ask this question to 10 people, you might get 10 different answers or variations of the answers. There's I've heard some people say, well, they feel safe. There's the savior complex, right? There are different, in this particular situation, this guy's locked up for life, and there's not even a likelihood, or a small likelihood, that they would have even, what's it called, visits. I'm gonna butcher the word, but this is where you can spend overnight. They do have those programs in prison, but if your offenses are strong enough, they won't even let you do that. Congenital, I don't know. But it was interesting how she came up with a thing to read, and they're like, "Come on, just tell us from your heart." I like that. They have like this thing going the board right now. I thought it was a good interview too. I think he's a good communicator. I get the appeal of dropping out of school to, get a GED and learn a skill, but I am someone who dropped out of high school in 10th grade, but I didn't go into trouble when I dropped out. I got a job. I got a job right away working like real estate. Not like fancy working real estate. The first job I got for a real estate complex was riding shotgun with the main handyman. So I was learning the ropes from the ground up, starting with with using my hands, and I'm not great with tools, I got to tell you. So it wasn't a great fit with me. But I get that appeal. For me, school never was good. I just was bad at it, right? So why waste my time doing something when I can start learning a new skill? And I didn't want to stay a handyman. I wanted to learn and understand real estate. And I was lucky enough to have been given the opportunity to say, okay, you want to do real estate? Well, you're going to start at the bottom and grow your way up there. And I didn't grow my way up there. I lasted like not very long, but I did end up having a stint in real estate, but it wasn't, and I did end up learning a lot. It was a good experience. Anyways, but overall, I am happy with the result. Like, right, you know, I don't know what he did to get locked up exactly. I don't have the records, but I think, you know, let him. You know, he did mention family a lot, and which is not something that you hear every day, you know. But was it him or was it the other person? Now I'm confused. I think it was the other. Anyways, so what did you think? How do you like this format of the multiple hearings? Anyways, I gotta run. So with that, I'll let you go. Oh, and please do the YouTube thing.